going on, guys? Some of you may know by now, each time I make any kind of modifications or upgrades to my no-weld grind sander, I like to make a short video and kind of document those changes, not only for myself to kind of see what I've done, but also for you guys who might have your own no-weld grinder as well. So my latest upgrade has once again been to the table. This is probably at least the fourth or fifth iteration of work table I've had. You can actually see the pieces of the original down here. There's a tool arm, and then here's kind of the various stages all the way from the table laid out in the plans, which is just a piece of, say, 1.5" angle on the front, to this 4x4 plate that I bolted on top of that to give myself a little more room. And then finally I expanded on that, made it about a 4x12 table, and then actually ended up putting a piece of HDLF or cutting board material. Used some carpet tape to attach that to this longer table, with the idea that maybe it would give me a little less friction when I'm grinding my blades. And it actually worked well for a while, but then it kind of started gouging out and tearing itself up. So I actually ended up just taking a piece of sheet metal and taping it to the top of that, just to get some of that rigidity back and something that wouldn't gouge or tear out as easily. But to be honest, that table was always extremely bulky, kind of overbuilt, and needlessly complicated, in my opinion. The original plans call for a side-to-side tube for the adjustment. It's actually this one right here, and then it had the up and down tube as well for up and down adjustment. And to be honest, I don't really think that's necessary at all, especially not the side-to-side. If you got a wide table, that's kind of a waste and added weight. And the up and down really was only useful for very limited applications. For instance, when my flat platen started to wear out, it was nice to be able to kick it up a 1/2 inch or 1 inch and kind of get on a new piece of flat platen. But all in all, it really wasn't worth the extra weight and the extra complications, the extra adjustments and variables there when trying to get my table square. So I ended up kind of simplifying things and made kind of a KMG style table, and all I had really for the support arm was a piece of 1/8 inch angle, and that was alright for a while, but as you can see, there's really just too much flex in there for this table, and I got a lot of vibration on the ends, a lot of flex. If I was bearing down or laying down a little too heavy on it, it threw my table out of square. And although this was a much lighter, much more convenient table that I really liked a lot better, I felt like I really could improve upon that and do it the right way. So I got a piece of 1.5" by 3/8 bar stock, essentially to replace the angle there and really stiffen that up a lot. And then I got even just a little bit wider of a table, about 1 inch wider, same length more or less, give or take a 1/4 inch, and pretty much the same design. Added one more bolt hole, did add a little space for the tracking on this side as well as that side, and then I cut the curve out so that I can remove my belts without having to move the table in or out. So that's definitely a nice convenience factor there, and really doesn't sacrifice any function of the table. And then finally, just as a little comfort, or to keep from scratching my arm so much on the corners, as I'm often prone to do when I'm reaching back here for something or bending over, I'll hit my head on it. I went ahead and rounded all the corners off, make that a lot more comfortable. So got a much wider table, or a little bit more surface area to work with, much more comfortable table, and a lot more rigid table that I think is really going to work a whole lot better than my last version there. So that's pretty much it for that upgrade. Maybe it gives you guys some ideas. Again, this is more of a KMG style work rest. Not a whole lot of adjustment other than in and out, but in my opinion you really don't need it. As far as tilting, I can do that with my platen forward or backwards up to 45 degrees. And the only thing I'll ever need to do really is just move this center out as this is tilted one way or the other. And if need be, I can even put this on the top side of the arm and work off a little bit of the top there, but I'm not sure that'll be very applicable for most things. So I'll probably just leave it there. If anything, I could even make maybe some spacers to drop this down some if needed, and get a little bit more versatility there, a little bit longer flat platen to work off. So as for my next modifications, I'm really seriously thinking about not only adding a handle to this, I'll probably cut this tube off, maybe take these tops, say 4 inches off, as this is just wasted steel that's just in my way right now. I'm actually not sure why the plans call for it to be that long, but I'll probably hack that off, maybe put a handle on here for easier belt changes. And then I really need to think about doing something with this tracking or this tension spring, as I don't think there's quite enough tension there to track as nicely or as strongly as I want to. So I may even think about doing a KMG style front spring, just kind of a heavy spring in the front there. Definitely something to think about, or I could even maybe get a heavier spring for the back there, or maybe cut a few coils off of that so it'll pull a little tighter. And that's pretty much it. I could probably remove this socket as well, as that's for the old tool arm, and I really don't use that very often at all. So just some thoughts, some future projects maybe, but all in all, I think this is definitely going to improve my grinding experience and be a much better fit for this machine. So let me know what you think, guys. Any questions, comments, please leave them below. As always, appreciate the views. See you.